have a story to tell. And if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, or I should say hear it with my own ears, I may be hesitant to actually believe it. But it's a story something that happened when I was a kid, and most of my cousins, not all of them, but a lot of them, witnessed it as well. And so here it is. We were at my aunt's house, and it's a farmhouse, my Aunt Annette. And the older cousins were watching the younger cousins because my mom and dad and their mom and dad were visiting at a different house. And so it was towards the evening, and some of us were outside, some of us were inside, but suddenly some of us that were outside started hearing my mom and dad's voice, and they're singers, but we heard them singing, and it was really, really loud, and it sounded like it was coming from the sky. Now, that doesn't make any sense, but literally, it sounded like they were coming from the sky. So my cousin, I believe it was my cousin Gil, who's passed on now, but he took his motorbike and went up the road because we thought somebody was playing a prank on us and just had a really loud stereo. But he started going up the road one way, and he said it would stop. He couldn't hear the voices after a certain point. And then he went down the other way, and he could hear it for quite a ways, and then it would stop. And then he'd come back, and we couldn't figure out what was going on. But it was literally Mom and Dad singing, "Why Me, Lord, What Have I Ever Done?" that song. But we could hear their voices. Now, we called Mom and Dad over where they were, and, of course, they thought we were crazy at the time because, first of all, Mom said, "We've never sang that song." But it was very distinctly my mom and dad's voice. And I believe my brother was there, and a lot of my cousins were there. And to this day, if you say, "Do you remember hearing my parents' voice from the sky?" they'll remember it because a lot of us heard it. And it was really loud, but very clear and very distinct. And it was Mom and Dad's voice, and they were singing, "Why Me, Lord." And to this day, we don't know why it happened. But it's an interesting story, and it's an interesting experience, and one that I'll never forget as long as I live.